with Brian Fisher.
Video segments of today's program will be posted at afr.net and on the Focal Point Facebook page. You'll also find the best collection of Brian's resources on our Facebook page. If you're on Twitter, you can be among the first every morning to find out what the day's show will be about. Just follow Brian at Brian J. Fisher.
Hi, and welcome back to this Tuesday edition of Focal Point on AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. The program is Focal Point. You are a part of the counterinsurgency. Christianity is the story of the invaded planet. The rightful king has landed, and we are a part of a great counterinsurgency. We are a part of the resistance to take back this planet and restore it to its rightful sovereign and rightful king. Welcome to the resistance. Now, I want to get your reactions to this statement. I'll take phone calls on reactions to this statement. This soundbite is 888-589-8840. This is an Obama biographer. David Remnick is his name. And he says that about President Obama, he's trying to explain his detachment. And this is what I want to have you call in. We're dealing here with educated guesses, speculation. I understand that. But why do you think President Obama appears to be so detached? Because everybody is recognizing that. Why is President Obama, why does he appear to be so detached and so disengaged from everything? What's your best guess? 888-589-8840. Now, this is David Remnick. He wrote an extended profile of President Obama that appeared in the New Yorker magazine back in January. And let's see, I believe he's on the Morning Joe program. And they're talking about this biography that he is going to come out with a biography of President Obama. And here, clip number 2, here is his exchange.
That was the profile that I published in the New Yorker. Somebody frustrated and disappointed. And that's what's frustrating to me sometimes about Obama, is that the world seems to disappoint him. Republicans disappoint him. Bashar al-Assad disappoints him.
The balls.
Putin as well. And the fighting spirit sometimes is lacking in the performative aspect of the presidency. Do I think at the end of 8 years that this will go down as a terrible presidency? I don't. You do. I don't.
Yeah.
I think an enormous amount has been achieved. And I do think, again, at the risk of irritating you, the Republican Party
that hurts me.
I know it does.
Why do you
I'm the one
assume
who's
that I'm
irritated.
rooting against the president?
Because we've talked before.
I never said I'm
not rooting against the president. But the Republican Party,
let's see
the
what
Republican
happens
Party
at the
is a
end of
more
8
radical Republican Party than it was certainly even in Bill Clinton's time. That's a difference. That's a political difference.
So he says, look, the reason Obama appears to be so detached is that the world disappoints him. So his explanation is President Obama had high expectations of people. He expected certain things from them. The images, he believed in them. He's a true, genuine humanitarian. He believed in the best about people. He believed the best about people. He expected more from them. And everybody's let him down. He expected more from the Republicans. He had high hopes for the Republicans. He's such a humanitarian. He expected the best from the Republicans, and they let him down. They disappointed him. He expected the best from Bashar al-Assad in Syria, and Bashar al-Assad disappointed him, let him down. He expected more from Putin, Vladimir Putin, and Putin disappointed him. So again, the picture here is that the reason, this is his explanation, the reason that President Obama is so detached is because everybody around him has been so undependable, has been so feckless, has been so irresponsible, has performed so far below humanitarian expectations that he's just gotten fed up. He's a noble creature. He's a man of vision. He's a man of moral superiority, and he's just frustrated with the kind of moral cretins that surround him in this world, and that's led him, according to this biographer, to become detached. Want to know what you think about that explanation? 888-589-8840 is the number to call. Here is Chuck Todd, number 3, NBC. Chuck Todd, in again, I don't even know if Chuck Todd is kind of aware of the damaging assessment he's making about President Obama here. But let's listen as Chuck Todd talks about President Obama working with Congress.
They have no clue on how to deal with Congress, and I've talked to folks in there, and they don't know. They can't envision. I mean, Mark is right. I think they have a theory of the case. They just don't know how to implement it. They don't know how to put it through. They don't know how to. They have no idea how they're really going to get anything done in Congress other than their whole theory this year is, well, if Democrats hold the Senate, maybe there's a whole bunch of stuff we can jam in the lame duck, and that there is a 6-week period that they'll get immigration, they'll get all these things. That's about all they have. That seems to be the totality of their legislative strategy because they don't know how to work with,
Okay,
with
where
this
are they?
Congress.
So they have no idea. So this would be Chuck Todd's explanation. I mean, the biographer saying he's just disappointed. So many people have let him down. Poor Mr. President. Everybody just lets him down. He just has such a big heart. He always expects the best for people, and he just gets bruised and disappointed and let down over and over again. And Chuck Todd is saying, well, there's another way to look at it. This guy is clueless. He has no idea what he's doing. He's utterly incompetent. You know, and Todd, he's talking about the Obama administration, but he's really talking about Obama here. They have no clue how to deal with Congress. So there's the word no clue. They can't envision. No vision. They have a theory. They just don't know how to implement it. Again, they're incompetent. They don't know how to put it through. They're incompetent. They have no idea how they're going to get anything done. They're incompetent, which being translated means they're incompetent. This seems to be the totality of their strategy because they don't know how to work with Congress. So Chuck Todd's explanation, they are just flat incompetent. Want to know what you think about why President Obama is so detached. 888-589-8840. This won't surprise you, but a new survey of 1,000 journalists reveal, and see if you're surprised by this. It's a survey of 1,000 journalists. 4 times as many of them identify as Democrats as identify as Republicans. 4 times. You know how many journalists? Here's the real takeaway from this. This is the thing you want to remember. This is the Fisher factoid of the day. The Fisher factoid of the day is they surveyed 1,000 journalists. This was for a magazine or a publication called The American Journalist in the Digital Age. This is television, network, print, and online journalists. You know how many of them self-identified as Republicans? 7%. 7%. 1 out of every 14 journalists even pretends to have a conservative worldview. So it's no wonder that the news they produce is absolutely flatly skewed to the left. All right, let's go to the phones. Let's grab a call from Tony in Albany, Georgia, 888-589-8840. Tony, Albany, Georgia, why do you think President Obama is so disengaged?
Well, I think he's engaged on foreign matters, but I think when it comes to domestic policy, he's a very rough-handed power politician, and I think he wants nothing to do with what's going on outside the borders of this country, because I think if he creates a new United States that is no longer proud of itself and no longer willing to make sacrifices, then he can build the country that he wants to from the inside and not worry about what goes on the outside of our borders.
So your view is that when it comes to domestic issues, he is engaged because he's got an agenda to weaken America, but he's disengaged when it comes to things that happen outside the country because his agenda really is to transform America, and so he's not as concerned about what's going on around the world. Is that a fair summary?
That's a fair summary, and to carry it even a step further, Che Guevara and Fidel Castro, Che Guevara was very good at what he did down there, which was stirring up the emotions, firing up the people to join their side in the revolt. And then when it came down to actually managing and running the country, he could not he could not be perceived to do it well. He was a threat to Castro, and he was done away with. I think the same thing, in essence, in a smaller sense, happened in 2008. The country was weary of what had been going on, and so it took a little charisma and ability to read, and people bought into this guy, and now he got the power, and he doesn't know how to do it except when it comes to domestic politics, which he's able to manipulate and filter through a willing media and a legislative body that is going to go for him no matter what.
Well, it seems, Tony, like Chuck Todd is saying, look, this guy just doesn't know how to work with Congress. Rather than being focused on trying to get things done domestically or internally, what Chuck Todd seems to be saying is there's incompetence everywhere you look. It doesn't matter whether he's trying to do something internationally or even do something internally. He just doesn't know how to work with Congress. He's got some idea. He's got a theory about things, but he's just completely clueless about how you practically get things done. All right, Tony, listen, I appreciate the call.
Sure.
And one of the implications here, what Chuck Todd is saying, and this may figure into 2016, the American people may want somebody with executive experience, somebody who's been a governor, somebody who's actually shown that they can implement and get things done. All right, let's go to Jim, Haleyville, Alabama. Jim, welcome. What's on your mind?
The best.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Best host radio we got. Thank you, Brian. A little bit of devil's advocate with Obama is he was raised in Hawaii, lived in Kenya. Hawaii is not attached to America. They don't think of much about America because it's not, landlocked. And he didn't spend that much time in America in a college. And we all had people who went to school with a college that kind of looked down their nose at people. And being raised by his mother and his grandparents and their ideology, and then going to that church up there with that pastor and picking up these people that all liberal Democrats.
All right, Jim, listen, I got to let you go because of time, but what I hear Jim saying is, maybe the problem is that President Obama never really became a full-fledged American, never really assimilated and became a full-fledged 100% American. Focal Point in AFR Talk. We'll be back in 2.